I'm Kim Cross. I'm the author of What Stands in a Storm, and I wrote this book over about a year plus of research, and it tells the story of the biggest tornado outbreak in the history of recorded weather, the April 27, 2011 outbreak that ravaged the South. The book tells the story of the storm through the people who lived it, through the first responders, the meteorologists, and through people who were in its path. And I wanted to put you in the middle of the storm, on the ground in this thing, and experience, as you're reading it, the massive chaos and fear and uncertainty of that day that so many people felt. And so as you're reading, you don't know what's going to happen. So very much like you know, a work of fiction, you are invested in these characters, you care about them, you don't know what's going to happen to them, and then when you do find out, it's a very emotional book.
I think it is so much more than a story about Alabama. This is a story about one of the most tragic weather-related events in the history of the United States, if not the world, and yet at the same time this is a story about love. This is a story about family. If you love books like The Perfect Storm by Younger, if you love Shadow Divers by Curson, or even Moneyball, Lewis's story about baseball, these are all narrative nonfiction stories that are about so much more than this moment in time.
A lot of books obviously have been out dealing with tragedy and the aftermath, but oftentimes I've found that it sort of feels like a newsreel reporting that's just, you know, going through your mind's eye. And I think what I was most impressed with is what Kim captured is just really the soul of these people that had experienced that and survived it, and in some cases, of course, didn't survive.
Pastor Wes White, who is the pastor of Smithville Baptist Church, was sitting on his red brick steps as he saw the EF5 that leveled the town coming toward him, and he ran into the church basement with a few other people, and the church took a direct hit, and somehow they survived it, and he came out and his church was just a rubble heap. And the one thing that survived in all of that rubble was this beautiful stained glass window of Jesus with outstretched arms that used to watch over the sanctuary, and it had one small crack, and that could have survived was just the symbol of hope that the church rallied around. They stuck a wooden cross in the soil and held church in the parking lot by that window. I think he said, we do not grieve as those who have no hope, and it would be awful if, you know, at the end of our life it was a period, but we believe that it's not a period but a comma. It's
a very, very personal story for her and for the people of Alabama, and yet she had to find a way to, you know, depersonalize it as she went through the process of really the forensic science of reconstructing the events of the day, of the 3 days. And she did it in such an amazing way that really 10 years ago wouldn't have been possible. Just the amount of information that she had to sift through and try to sort through at any given point in time. The ability, though, to go back and say, now, at this specific moment in time, this is how many supercells were on the ground, this is where they were, and this is how they were impacting the community, makes for incredible storytelling.
The seeds of the book were in a magazine piece that I did for Southern Living back in 2011. So when the storm hit, it hit just a few miles from our offices at Southern Living, and the editor at the time, Lindsay Bierman, looked at me and said, "What do we do about this? You know, this is our backyard. This is our Katrina. We need to cover it." And so he appointed me at the head of a team of reporters and photographers, and we went out and canvassed a number of states and reported, you know, both scanned all of the newspapers and all the small towns that had been hit, and then got on the ground in several disaster zones within a day or two of the storm.
This is a book that can bring you to tears, or nearly brought me to tears on more than one occasion, but by the time it was finished, I just felt so uplifted that, you know, what stands in a storm is, you know, man will survive and we will prevail.
At the very back of the book is a page with the memorial scholarships and memorial funds of 3 of the characters that you'll come to care about in the book. And I think that's really important. So I hope people will go and check out that page and donate to whichever character they felt connected with the most.